You can't do anything about the length of your life, but you can do something about its width and depth. Evan Isar. Hey guys, welcome to Creativism, applying creativity to every aspect of life. I'm Josh the Creative, and this show takes a look at my past successes, mistakes, and all the things I've learned from my own experience or the experience of others. This show is about creating better habits, changing your mindset on your job, and nurturing your creativity. So whether you work for yourself or you work for somebody else, this podcast is for you. And today, for my coffee talk, I had a half and half mix with that donut shop coffee I mentioned previously, and then this Folger brand. I think it's called like 1850. And I'm pretty sure I had the Trailblazer, the like light roast. This is one of those days where I just wanted to change things up a little bit. So it came out pretty light colored. Both coffees were light roasts, so it came out obviously pretty light, and it definitely had a really nice smooth finish. So I'm not the biggest fan about mixing coffees, just because I don't care to do it, but it's something I may do in the future when I have more distinct flavors to kind of pair together. So moving on to the topic for the day. In this episode, I want to address the issue of information overload and how we can learn to consume less content and then be very intentional about what we do consume. So first, why is it bad? Why is overconsumption bad? In this day and age, we have access to so much content: videos, music, podcasts, articles, social media posts, and even books. We often face something called information overload, consuming more stimulating content than one can truly process in any given time. So this can lead to the inability to remember what we consume, the inability to focus or make decisions. Our brains have too much to process because we have a tendency and a sort of obligation to kind of listen or watch something any second that we have, even while we're doing something else, almost as if we're doing something to keep our mind busy. And you know what? I'm guilty of this. I tend to listen to music a lot when I'm working out, going for a walk, driving to the store, working on projects, photo editing, writing. Then there are other times where I'm watching YouTube videos while, quote unquote, multitasking on something else like making food or getting ready in the morning. And because of that, I felt the busyness in my mind, the inability to really settle. And I can feel all these thoughts that never really stop because they act as like echoes of all the content that I consumed that week. So information is great, but have you considered how much of the information you watched, read, or listened to was actually useful? Can you remember what you watched, even yesterday? Even the educational information can fall into that short-term memory and then be forgotten just as easy as it came. I watched a video from Art of Improvement that I think is worth a watch. It's called 5 Simple Things You Should Do Every Sunday. I'll have a link to that episode below. So let's use YouTube as a primary basis for this section, since it has a wide variety of information on all levels. So useful content can be considered something of real value. There's informative or educational, inspiring, there's entertaining, there's political information. I'd probably say just like the factual stuff, the hard facts. Something helpful to your career field or hobbies, or something that's even stress relieving. And then there's a category of useless information, which can include random things that people do in their day and post about it for the sake of being admired or envied. Videos that talk about weird things in the world, like top strange fish, compilation videos about social media or fail videos. Now, some of this stuff can fit in the entertainment category, but these videos tend to be longer than they really need to be, and thus keep you involved longer than you should be. Video game matches. This also can be something that's helpful or entertaining, but it is very easily overconsumed. So this just serves as a rough outline for you to consider the things that you consume. Of course, these category descriptions can vary from person to person. So next we must ask, how can we be intentional? So I have a few steps to kind of curb your consumption. Unfollow people on social media who don't bring real value to your day-to-day life. Unfollow channels on YouTube or other platforms that you initially follow because you kind of like the topic, but you're not really into it for real. Unsubscribe from emails that just send you junk. Don't even spend the time allowing those emails to come, day to day, week to week, for you to spend more time taking them off. Just unsubscribe entirely. Delete some social media off of your phone, limiting your exposure and frequency of notifications. There's some social media apps that will still notify you even when you turn off all notifications. And that's why I took Facebook off my phone for a while. Next, make adjustments to your social media to assess if something's really bringing value to you, or if someone's just posting garbage to fill space. Maybe you don't listen to music every time the room is quiet, or while you're doing something else. Use your music time to just enjoy music, not using it as a background for everything else, so you can put all your focus, your full focus, into what you're listening to. And then lastly, give yourself time each day to consume nothing. Just sit there, lie there, just be there and think. Sit in the silence and allow your brain to freely think and process everything on your mind. When you drive, maybe try no music. Just hear the wind rushing by or the rumble of your car. Be a little more focused on and present with what's going on around you. So in this episode, I also wanted to address another point revolving around overconsumption. I found it to be helpful to revisit videos, books, podcasts that I've initially consumed for inspiration to pursue a dream, education on a skill set, or overall assistance with self-development. So I want you to think about something for a moment. What content did you find helpful that you really can't remember what was helpful about it? Can you remember that how-to video that helped you build your skill set on your projects? So now I want to ask, what if we listen, watch, and read helpful content over and over? I listen to good podcasts and then I'll download them so I can listen to them again later, just to reinforce the content that I'm absorbing. Otherwise, it'll just come and go, like I'm driving on a highway and passing by beautiful sights to never see again. This provides an opportunity for me to sit down and take notes on what I've consumed, and maybe even get something new out of it the second time that I really wouldn't have caught the first time. And this is what I like about reading the Bible. I could read the entire book of James or entire book of Ephesians once and get a good chunk of things out of it, but then read it through again and get even more the second or third time. So these are just some basic tips for being intentional about what we consume. And with that, I want to recommend 2 YouTube channels that have videos that help kind of reinforce some of the things I talked about in this episode. So the first is Nathaniel Drew and his digital minimalism playlist. I think this does wonders with filtering your digital life so everything isn't so visually cluttered. And then the other one, I've already mentioned the YouTube channel Matt Diavella, but I want to specifically mention his technology playlist and his Ground Up Shorts playlist. I'll have a link to all of those playlists below as well. So if you found this helpful, I hope you begin putting it into practice. Otherwise, it doesn't really serve its purpose. So share this with a friend if you think they consume too much content. I'll have links to other content that help put this concept into practice. And I'll also have a link to the original video that I put on YouTube about intentional consumption in the description. All right, so we're going to recap. Curb your intentional consumption by unfollowing people on social media, unfollowing channels on different platforms, unsubscribing from some emails, maybe delete some social media off of your phone, make adjustments to your social media and what shows up on there. Maybe try not listening to music every chance you get when the room is quiet. Give yourself time each day to consume nothing. And listen, watch, and read helpful content over and over and over. So thanks for listening, guys. The life update this week. My wife, Brittany, she chopped 4 or 5 inches of her hair off and then dyed it purple because she got really bored at home. And as she will say, the quarantine got to her. So I knew that she would be doing this, but nothing could really prepare me for the drastic change that I saw. So walking in the door after a long day at work. But hey, it was beautiful. Anyway, thanks for listening. The song you're currently listening to was produced by yours truly, and you can find it on SoundCloud under Lewis Effect. You can find me on Instagram at Josh the Creative. If you want to see any of my older YouTube videos, you can search Josh the Creative on YouTube. And if you want information about my film business, just visit fearlesslionmedia.com. I'll catch y'all next week. Deuces.